It's Melissa here at TCT Crafts. Today we are going to make this super adorable over-the-top Christmas design using this homemade wreath attachment from Hillside Decor on Etsy. So this is super cute. We're getting into Christmas designs. Hope you guys enjoy. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. We've got some new tutorials coming out. I try to do them at least every week. So hope you guys enjoy, and let's get started. Hi guys, Melissa here at TCT Crafts. You guys are in for a special treat today. We are making Christmas design, and the inspiration for this Christmas design is this super adorable wreath attachment. This is made from Hillside Decor on Etsy. I don't know if she has any more, but you can definitely check her out. Again, Hillside Decor on Etsy. So this large wreath attachment is the inspiration for this design today. So I am using a flocked 24-inch wreath base. This actually came from Walmart last year. It was $9.98, 24-inch flocked wreath. So they should be coming out with those soon. Snatch them up when you see them. And then I'm using some 21-inch mesh and then some 10-inch mesh. Now I've already started prepping my wreath base just so that you guys didn't have to sit and watch the whole thing, but I did leave a little section for us to finish so that you can see how we do it if this is your first time watching. There is lots of different ways you can do the wreath bases. This is just one particular method that I'm using today. So what I'm doing is I'm going around on the outside. There are two rings on this wreath base. There's a top ring and then there's a bottom ring. I am starting on the outside ring and just going all the way around with my mesh. So this was the 21-inch mesh. I'm just alternating colors. So now let me get a 10-inch mesh. This is a cute window pane mesh in our red and green. And the reason I'm bringing out some of this green, just so that you guys kind of know what color scheme I'm going with, is I'm going to pull out the green in his eyes, and then she has some little berries up here, and it's got the green. So I'm using just a little bit of that lime green to pull out those colors. So we're just going to put that in there, give it a twist. Now I want them like touching, but it doesn't have to be like overlapping because this is a flocked wreath base. We want some of that to show, just to add a little bit to our design. So if you've never seen me put in my mesh before, I will take and put it up on my chest, or you can do it down on the table, whichever is more comfortable for you. But I put up my chest and just roll these ends in. That just helps the mesh from fraying. It's gonna fray, it's mesh, but this just kind of keeps it from fraying too much. And then I'm just gonna find two pine ties on the outside and give it a twist. Tie that in there, perfect. And then I'm using some of the black and red just because his hat has that black and white check in it. And then it's got some black in his eyes, in his mouth area. So we're going to bring in a little bit of that. So I'm just going to give that a tie. Okay, so we've gone all the way around the outside. Now let's go on the inside. So now we're going to use one of the 21 inches. I don't measure, I just kind of raise my roll up and cut. But we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to take and roll the ends. This time we're going to just put my fingers in between in between the rolls, and we're just going to kind of bend it up, and it makes like a little poof. So I'm going to find some ties here on the inside. Okay. Now we're going to switch over to our 10-inch mesh. So that's the only 21-inch mesh that I'm using. The rest are the 10-inch mesh. this on the inside. Again, they're touching, but they're not like overlapping. We want some of this pretty flocked pine to show. Just a heads up, in case you don't know, I'm sure you might already know this, but this flocked base, this flocked pine, is very pretty, but it is very messy. So just FYI, you're going to get white stuff all over you and all over your table. But it is really pretty to work with. Okay. Go with our next color. Blacken the red in here. And remember, when I do my wreath, not always, but typically when I add mesh, the mesh is just kind of filler. By the time we get done adding all of our goodies and stuffing it with all of our picks and spray, you're really not going to see that mesh too much. So don't be too afraid of what colors you use, as long as it's similar in nature to the color palette. You're not going to see it. Like, it's not going to be the star of the show. So okay, I think I'm going to take this one. You're going to see me skip because I only have one piece of this left. I don't want it so close to the other one that I just did. I want it kind of in the opposite direction. So I'm just going to skip, and I'm going to put this one here. And then we'll use the 10-inch to fill in the rest. So I'm just going to keep alternating. It's just now I won't have any more of this 21-inch mesh in there. And I don't want this one right on top of this other one. So I'm going to change my color pattern just a tiny bit and add this one in here. Now I'll add this one so it's not sitting all right on top. Okay. We are almost done getting our base ready. This is the longest part, and then the fun stuff gets to begin. And if you didn't want to put mesh in this, because this base is already so pretty, it's flocked, you could definitely just skip the mesh, use different picks and sprays to kind of add as filler, and that would look really pretty too. Okay, let's get white. Almost done. I have one more piece of this black and red, so let's just go ahead and add it right here next to that white. And now we have gone all the way around the inside. So we have our base ready. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and kind of squish it down just a little bit. You don't have to do this. If you want to keep the round shape, you definitely can, but I'm just going to give it a little bit more of a oval, elongated shape. Perfect. Okay. I'm just going to make sure we push that mesh in there. Okay, I'm going to take two zip ties. and just wrap around this inside wire. This is going to give me a place to tie our attachment to, as well as hold these kind of into that oval shape. Okay, cut this off. Let's add one more at the bottom. Oh, come on. Struggling with the zip ties today, y'all. There we go. Okay. If this is y'all's first time watching, welcome. I try to do tutorials every week. So we've been doing some fall and some Halloween. And so I thought, let's switch it up and do Christmas design. I have had this wreath attachment for a couple months. I think before I went on vacation. So I've been waiting to use it. So I figured, let's do it. Come on. The zip tie is giving me fits today, y'all. You don't want to use zip ties, you could use pipe cleaners. And just tie them around as well. So that's in there, it's just not wanting to get super snug on me. Okay. I'm going to cut it off, and then I'm just going to wrap some of this pine around it. Just to help hold that in there. See if I can find another piece. Just digging in there, finding some pine that is loose that I can just wrap. Wrap around the zip tie. There we go. Okay, let's do the same thing up here. See if I can find a tie. Just to kind of help hold that in. Okay, there we go. Okay, now let's add our super adorable Mr. Santa. Now I want him up a little bit because we're going to have a bow, and I also have a little Santa boot that I think we're going to add in here. Yeah, I think that'll be cute. So we'll do a little Santa boot, we'll do a bow, got our Santa, and then we'll do some ribbons and some sprays on the around the outside. So let's get him attached. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try something different this time. And actually, after we make the bow, I'll make the bow first. I think I'm going to put him up on the wall and raise the camera so that you can see a different view. Okay, I'm getting this top one twisted, and then I'm going to lift him up and I'm going to add some glue. So he'll have glue and he'll have the twist ties. She does already have the twist ties attached to the bottom of him, so that works out perfect. Okay. I'm going to raise him up, add some glue all up underneath his body here. Grab these other ties very carefully so you don't touch that glue. And I'm going to wrap it around that zip tie that we just added across the middle. That's going to give us a point to tie this in. And I'll flip it around and show you the back as soon as I get them. As soon as I get them tied in here. Sometimes this can be the trickiest part. Getting these things pulled through your mesh and tied in. Okay. Just giving this a twist. I'm going to add just a dab of glue on this pipe cleaner just so it doesn't come undone where I tied it and cut it off. Okay, so I just tied it right around this zip tie. Tied it in there. Okay, now I'm going to add some glue to the bottom and just push it down on that mesh. Be careful not to get his fur. I think I got a little piece right there. There we go. Or his beard, his furry beard. Okay. So we've got him attached. Let me make my bow, and then like I said, I will put this on the wall and let's try a different view. See if I can design this way. I've never done it before, so we'll give it a try. Okay. So let me clean off this table because we've got this flocking everywhere. I don't want all in my bow. You guys should see my floor. I did another flocked wreath before I did this one. I didn't video that one, but it was one I had just finished and it was flocked as well, and so my floor looks like it's snowed in here. Okay, so I'm gonna get my easy bow maker. We are going to use this 4-inch Harlequin. It matches his hat. This did come from my shop. I'm going to give it about a 16-inch tail. We can trim it down once it's on the wreath, but I want to make sure that it's long enough. Let me get a little drink. This flocking. Ooh. It can tickle your throat. Okay. Wear a mask if you want to. Might be better. Keep that flocking out. Okay, so I'm going to do about a 7.5-inch loop twist because we always want to keep the pretty side up. If you can do these by hand, go right ahead. I am just not good yet at the hand bows. We're practicing, but it's just easier for me in the bow maker. Okay. So we've got one loop of this on each side. I'm going to cut my tail. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with this 2.5-inch. This actually came from Hobby Lobby in 2010. So it is quite old, but it's pretty. It's kind of got the little snow on the edges. We're going to use that. This time I'm going to go in about 1/2 inch shorter. So it's going to be about 7. Okay. Tail. Now we're going to go in with our green to bring out a little bit of the green color. We did have this one in the shop. I'm not sure if it's still there, but we did have it. So now this is going to go about 1/2 inch. So it'll be about at the 6.5. A little bit longer on that one. Okay. I'm going to go in with a zip tie. You can use pipe cleaner. I just prefer the zip tie. And just sliding that under. Then I'm going to tie this tight, but not too tight, because we want to be able to pull it out and kind of make sure this is in the middle. Then I'm going to take a pipe cleaner. Now this is 2 pipe cleaners tied together, just to make sure we have enough to go through the wreath. Now before I make it super tight, I'm just going to fluff up my loops. Perfect. And then tie it really tight. Okay, so now we have our bow. I'm going to move the camera up and then we will try a different point of view. Okay guys, so now we have it hung up. We're going to try this way and see if I can design this way. I normally just design on the table, but this might be better for you guys to actually see. Let me scoot the camera just a tad bit closer. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. Okay, so we've made our bow. Let's go ahead and get it added. I want the bow to go, I think, right in there. So I'm just gonna feed this through this mesh into the back. A little bit higher. Okay, and then I'm just going to tie this off in the back. Perfect. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of glue on the back of that loop, just so that it stays up. It's just going to adhere to that mesh right there. That way it doesn't get floppy. And I'll do the same thing on this side. Just a tiny dot of glue. Okay. Let's dovetail the ends of our ribbons. This one I'm just going to curl up a little bit. add more ribbon, let's add our ornament, our boot ornament. We do have these in the shop. The SKU is OR9847. Super cute little Santa boots. Let me see where I want them. I kind of want it. Kind of want it tucked in there because we have our bow here, so I want something to kind of go diagonal. Okay, so let me add some glue to this. We're gonna stick it up in there, and let me hold this. And I think I'm going to need to get like an ornament ball. Let me hold this. An ornament ball like to go here, and maybe one up here. Actually, I have these red ones right here. These might work. Let's see. Let me hold this there for just a second. Okay, so I do have these ornament balls. Yeah, those are cute. So let's add these. Tuck that in there. And then let's get this one kind of tucked in. Like right in there. More glue. Okay. So these little ornament balls I made out of some velvet yarn and a styrofoam ball. Super easy to make. So we're going to put those right there. Okay. Perfect. Now let's work on some ribbon. So I have a bow here. I think I want to do like a little small bow there. Zoom back out. So you guys aren't going to be able to see me make this bow unless I move the camera again. So I'm just going to make a simple bow. It's just going to have just some smaller loops, just like we made the last bow. I'm just attempting to do it in my hand instead of using the bow maker. Which I don't know if that's going to work. Trying to decide, or if I just want to do like a little half bow. I think I'm just going to do like a little half bow. So we're just going to pinch it and just have this little loop. Twist it so that I have my tail. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with this. Just pinching it, creating like a little half bow. Twisting my tail. And then we'll do the same thing with the green. Creating like a little half loop. and pinch. Okay, let me get a pipe cleaner. Wrap around this, tie this off. So I'm just tying it. Okay, now let's add our little half bow up in here. And I'm just using those pine ties. I didn't need to use that pipe cleaner to go through there, so I'm just going to cut it off. And then now let's fix our tails. So I think I want these to go up. I'm getting in my cobwebs. My Halloween decor getting in the way. I'm just going to dovetail the bottom ones too. There we go. Okay. Now let's add some ribbon right there. So I think I'm just going to add a strip. Let's get a strip of this. Inch. Guys, I'm not used to designing this way, so bear with me. Hopefully the view is good. If not, we'll go back to the other way. Okay, so we've got that there. And now I'm going to add just a little bow with the red and the white. Just a little baby bow. So I'm just going to untie this little pine tie and stick this down in there. Now we have our little baby bow. Let me dovetail it. Cute. Okay, I'm going to give it some tails down at the bottom, and we'll add some of the green in. So we're going to add all 3 colors in. I'm just going to do tails. I don't measure, so I just put it in there. Let me find a tie. We may not have a tie. We may have to use a pipe cleaner. Where I want it is not a tie, so I'm going to use a pipe cleaner. So we have something to tie it to. Just going to add this red, and then we'll do some of the green. Now I'm going to use this pipe cleaner to get into that spot that I want and tie it around that frame. I'm just tying it around the frame in the back. I'm attempting to tie it around the frame in the back. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to add I'm going to hit it with just a little bit of glue since we kind of tied that in there. And then now let's dovetail our tails. And I'm just doing them at different lengths. I want it to hang down just a little bit from the mesh, but not too far. Okay, so now we have our little tails down there. We need to put some ribbon up in this area up here. So I think we're going to do another baby bow, just like we did this one. We're going to do it up there. So let me get a strip of this 4-inch. Just going to pinch it together and see if I can find, oh, perfect, we got a tie right there. And then we're just going to make the little baby bow. So I'm just doing small little loops. And then we're going to untie that where I just tied that in there and add this to it. Give it a good twist. Perfect. Okay, let's dovetail our ends. Perfect. Okay, I think I want to add a little tail right there, just behind that head, because it seems a little bare to me right there. I may have to take it down to do this, but let's see if I can find a tie. No, I'm going to need to take it down. Let me take it down just real quick. Get these cobwebs out of here. Let me just add some tails just right behind there in this little bald spot. I'm going to add all 3 colors just like we had at the bottom. We're going to do right up here at the top. And I've lost my scissors that I just had. There they are. So I'm using all 3 of the colors again, just to do little tails. And I'll show you as soon as I get it back up there. Okay, let me dovetail them real quick and then we'll put it back up on the wall. Okay, thanks for bearing with me on that. I just could not get that tie with it being on the wall. I'm going to cut this little, before I stick this back up there, I'm going to cut some of this spider web off so it doesn't get in my way. There we go. And y'all, it's not real spider web, it's the fake spider web. I don't have real spider webs hanging from my walls. Okay. So I just added those tails right up here in all 3 colors, just like we did down here. We have them up here. We've got our 2 baby bows, we've got our little half bow, and we've got our full bow. So I think we are done with the ribbon. So let's put that up. So we did not use a whole roll of ribbon. We still have enough for another project of the green and of the 4-inch. Now this was a partial roll, so we did almost run out of it. But the other 2, there's enough for another project. Okay. Okay, now we are going to add some filler, some picks and sprays, and get this thing filled up. This ribbon is very thick and this pin is not wanting to go in there. There we go. Okay, so I have these red sprays. These red glitter sprays. We do have these in the shop. So I'm going to cut them into little sections so you can pull these little pieces and cut, and that gives you little pieces to work with. So I'm just going to cut some of these off. And I'll tell you how many pieces we get out of it. Okay, so out of the 1 pick, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little pieces. So I'm just going to dip it in my glue pot, and then we're going to start going around and just filling in all the way around the outside of the wreath. This here is a little bit longer of a piece. I'm trying to see if I want to cut it down. I think I'm going to leave it for the top. Let me get a shorter piece for the side. Gonna tuck it right behind the boot. Okay. And let's tuck one up behind this bow. Okay, I'm going to take one of the longer pieces to go back behind his head. I'm just sticking it in there, making sure it touches either that pine or the mesh. Let's go back behind this little half bow. Or not half bow, the little tails. We'll do one behind this half bow over here too, but I think I'm going to come a little bit more in front of that one. Okay. Now I'm going to cut up another one. Oh, I still have a couple pieces from another project, so let me use those up real quick. Come back behind that bow. Okay. And we're going to go here on the side. Tuck that up in there. Okay, now I'm going to cut up another one. Or at least a few pieces. We may save the rest for the end in case we need some more filler. Now I want a piece coming down up under there. So let's put that in there, kind of closer to where that tail was. Okay. Let's do one back there. Okay. See if there's any other spots that I want to add right now, and then we'll save the rest for the end. We can fill in. Let's do a piece down there. Okay, so we've got one more. I've got one more, we'll save it for the end. If we still have some spots we want to fill in, then we can add them later. Now, I have just a couple pieces. This was just some scraps of this little white flocked spray. So I thought, well, let's just use up, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 pieces. So let's just use them up. And I'm going to take and pull them apart so that we have little twigs, kind of little twigs that we can like tuck down into the wreath. So let me cut these up into little pieces, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to go around, find the little holes, and add this as filler. These type wreaths with this artificial pine, it's really good to use your scraps up on these because you can just use different scraps as filler and it looks so pretty tucked in the wreath. Okay, so I'm going to take some of my little pieces that we just cut off and we're just going to tuck them in there just to give a little bit extra texture and add something a little bit different in here. One right up under the boot here. Add one at the top. You don't really see it from this angle, but when it's hanging on a customer's door, you'll be able to see all the little details. Oh, these blue strings. Like extra spider webs. Okay. So again, I'm just tucking these little pieces in, just into different spots, just to add it as filler. Let's add one back behind our bow there. Add one up underneath our bow. Pull some glue strings off while I see them. Okay. Got a couple more pieces. Just you. Oh, guys, sorry, this vlogging. Use them up. Let me get a drink. I think he's hanging a little crooked on my hook there, but I'll straighten him up. He's straight. He was hanging a little crooked. So there we go. Okay. I don't have a hanger on it yet, so I just kind of set it on that. I just kind of set it on that hook, but I'll add a hanger to it when we get done. See a spot that we need something right in this hole, and it needs to be longer. So I'm going to add a longer piece of this red glitter spray. I need something down in that hole, and this little white piece is not long enough. It won't really be shown. So I'm going to stick this little red piece down in there. Perfect. Now we have something kind of in that little hole. And once I hang it up to take the picture, I'll usually take a picture and then study the picture and just kind of see where there's some holes that I missed. And then I'll take some of the extra little fillers that I have that we've saved for the end, and then I'll fill it in. One right up in there. Perfect. Okay, we are almost done. So I don't want to add too much to this just because this is already going to be expensive. This wreath attachment is super adorable, but they are not cheap. But you are supporting other handmade sellers on Etsy, and I love to do that. Plus, he's just so adorable. But because he is a little bit more expensive, I mean, we could just keep adding all kinds of picks and sprays in there, but the price point is really going to go up. So I'm just going to add a few more things, and then we're going to be done. So I have these really cute little, they're glittery snowflakes. So I'm thinking about just kind of tucking some of these in here. Just kind of throughout. So I'm just going to add some glue. Just tuck some of these around there. Get some on the sides. You don't want to forget about under your bow. Even though you can't, it may be hidden a little bit from the side. A customer's looking at it from the side, you can still see in there. So we don't want to forget to put stuff back behind our bow too. These ornaments came from, I think it was Hobby Lobby. Yep, Hobby Lobby. But they're old. I've had them for a while, so. But I'm sure they have some sort of snowflake ornament. Ew, touch that one. That was hot. Okay, so I'm just kind of going all the way around, just tucking these in there. Let's redo this one. I'm gonna get a different one. That one was kind of bending. Let's try a different one here. There we go. Okay, got a few more. Just gonna keep going around. You can stop whenever you're happy. Again, the more you add to it, the more expensive it's going to be. I think I want one kind of right in here. Kind of got there, and then let's put one, like create a triangle and put one right there. I may have to move this one because I think it's going to be too close. Luckily the glue is still, or I can pull it out. It up underneath there. Okay. I've got just a couple left. I'm going to save them for once I get it hung up in the picture taken, just so I can see if there's some spots I want to fill in. Okay, and the very last thing we're going to add, and you can definitely stop here. It looks super cute just like it is, but I have some of this frosted eucalyptus. Or it's not eucalyptus, I'm sorry. It's a snowy mint bush. Snowy mint bush. But I'm going to take and cut this up. We do have this in the shop as well. And I'm going to use it just to fill in some spots around the wreath. So I cut it, and then I'm going to cut it in half again, so that we have some little small pieces like this, just to kind of tuck in as filler. So I'm going to cut one of these up, and then see what we're looking at, if we need to do another one or not. This is going to give us quite a few pieces. But again, you could totally stop now. It looks super cute. I'm just being a little extra. Okay. So I have these little pieces. I'm just going to dip them in my glue pot. And we're just going to look for little holes. That I want to add some of this in. Just gives it just a little bit extra. And I think we'll probably end up using at least 2 of these, but we'll see. So there's no rhyme or reason of where I'm putting these. I'm just looking for spots that kind of have a little hole and just tucking them in there. Just add a little bit extra texture, a little bit different color. Tangled up in the spider web again. I'll fix it when I get down. Oh my gosh, this glue is crazy. It's all over the place. Okay. A few more pieces and then we'll see where we're at. You could stop there, but I do think I want one more bush. I think I want to tuck it in. At least one more bush, tuck it in there, and then that'll be it. So I had brought 3, but we're only going to use 2. But again, you can totally stop here to be a little bit less expensive because you won't have this extra spray you have to add. But I'm going to go ahead and add it. At least some of it. We may not use the whole thing. But I do know I want a few more pieces, so. I really hope this angle is good. If not, you probably will never see this video. But I thought I would try something new today and design on the wall, which for me is interesting because I don't normally design on the wall, but I was hoping you'd be able to kind of see what I was doing a little bit better than with it being flat on the table. Okay, so I've got one more bush cut up, so I'm just going to keep dipping it in my glue pot. Tucking it in different areas around the wreath. Now I have not added up all of the supplies yet, but I know this wreath is going to be over $200. So just to give you a little bit of the price point for this one, it's going to be an expensive design. Like I mentioned, this guy here is not cheap, so that adds to the cost. So, and of course, the more you add to the wreath, it's just going to get more expensive. I need a piece right back there, but I may have to wait until I pull it down. Well, here, let's try and see if I can get back behind there. I'm going to get on the outside. Here. I'm going to get some of the outside areas. Let's get up underneath the bow. See a spot right here. I'm going to tuck it up in that pine. Okay. Oh, super adorable. So cute. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there, guys. I'm going to take a picture, put them on the table, and see where I'm missing any spots. But hope you guys enjoyed. Till next time. Bye, guys.